Good morning, everybody. Peter G here. Meet Peter G. 1-902-817-7117. This morning I wanted to make a video in regards to a very, very important topic, a very, very important approach and what needs to be happening right now. Whether it's a business, whether it's a company, whether it's an individual, this one thing that I'm going to talk about this morning is an incredible deal maker or deal breaker in regards to the amount of effectiveness in one's organization. I'm defining organization as a place of business or a circle of friends or even your environment with your family, okay? Not just business specific. And that one thing is about leadership. Leadership I wanted to chat about today really quickly because in a time like now with the COVID virus and everything that's happening, this is new to everybody. Okay, I want to be clear about that. It's important that we all are on the same page with that. This COVID-19 and the implications that are coming from this, businesses shutting down, borders shutting down, provinces in a state of emergency. This is the first time that my province that I reside in that I can recall is in a state of emergency. I've never experienced that before, and so therefore many businesses, many people haven't either. And leadership is an important aspect to anytime you're running a business, anytime you're part of a team, whether it's an amateur environment or whether it's a professional environment. Leadership is the determining factor of whether you win or whether you lose, right? It determines whether you can get buy-in from people. It determines whether you can influence people. It determines whether people want to work with you or for you, right? As opposed to against you or have an animosity away from you. But the reason I wanted to chat about leadership really quick is because I have two very specific examples that were brought to my attention yesterday from two very different companies and from two very different businesses. And I'm not going to name drop either business. It's not relevant at all. What's relevant is how these businesses and these managers are, I shouldn't do air quotes, they're managers, I should do leaders, are really approaching their staff, their people, and how they're handling this situation, okay? If you're not familiar with John Maxwell, the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, get familiar with this book and get familiar with this book today. For me, this is one of the, if not the best book, most effective book that I've ever read specific to leadership. It's called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And what John Maxwell does in it is he breaks down 21 laws and he speaks to why each of those laws are incredibly important. For my topic right now, I've pulled two laws from this 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership that I think are absolutely critical and tie into the whole point that I'm trying to make around businesses and how they lead during COVID-19 and tough times, okay? The first one is law of connection, okay? It's this 10th law of his 21. It's called law of connection. Leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. Leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. So what do they mean by that? What they're saying is a leader cares, genuinely cares, and shows care for their employees, for their peers, for their subordinates, for their managers and their environment around them, for their family members, for their friends, for their acquaintances. They genuinely care about those people. And they show that by asking those people, how are they feeling? They show that by asking those people, what can I do for you? They show that by, they don't just say they care, and this is what I'm getting at. They show that by taking action and showing that they genuinely care about the people around them before they feel comfortable asking for something from that person. And that's important for two reasons. One, it's like, think about it. If someone's asking you for something, a favor, or they're asking you to step outside your comfort zone, and you don't, like, maybe you don't know this person very well, maybe you don't trust this person very much, maybe you don't care for this person because you don't feel cared for this person, you're much more likely to not want to step up and do that for them, right? You don't have that connection, you don't have a sense of commitment or obligation to that individual. Now I want you to picture somebody else that you can think of, whether they're your mentor, your boss, your manager, a really good friend that shows so much commitment to you, so much loyalty. They've done everything you've ever asked them for in the past. You know they care about you, and that person comes to you and says, hey, I need you to do me a small favor, please. It's important to me for you to come through and help me on this. Who do you think you're likely going to help? right? Would you agree that it would be the person that you care for and that has shown care for you in return? Law of connection during this time is incredibly important. The two examples, one company that I heard about yesterday has not done a good job of this, and I'm hearing it from the individual that is the subordinate of that manager or that alleged leader, and how they're actually feeling about that behind the scenes. And then I heard another company and how they've taken the exact opposite approach. Okay, so this person that I know very close to me is going through a situation right now where they're being told by their boss or their manager to conduct business in an environment that this individual that I'm talking about doesn't feel comfortable conducting business in. They've been told by this manager that they are to do a task. I'm not going to get specific about it. It's not relevant. They're being told to take care of something right now that A, wasn't in their job profile prior to all this COVID. B, they're not even being asked if they're comfortable with this. They're not being asked if this is something that they're open to stepping up and delivering. They're not being empowered. They're being told. And what's worse about that is this manager is someone who my friend has no loyalty to. Anytime they ask for something, the manager redirects it to their manager. They've never reached out to this person and said, hey, how are you feeling? You know, how's your husband doing? You know, I know in the industry he's in, he's getting whacked right now. How are you guys holding up? That phone call's never been had yet. That conversation's never been had. This is the first time this person's hearing from her boss in all of this madness, and it's to do something that this boss doesn't want to do. That's another part of it, is that the manager is very capable of taking this task, but they don't want to do it, and they're allocating this responsibility to this individual. Law of connection. Other business, other company. I heard a story yesterday. This company, they're a big company. What they're in the process of doing now is they're taking time out of their day and they're having one-on-one individual conversations with their veteran staff simply to just check in with them. Simply to say, this is a crazy time. None of us know what we're doing. I don't pretend to know how to handle my day any more than I know you can't handle your day. I, as your manager and as your leader, have never been through this before. This is our first COVID experience. This is my first time being in a management position where we are in a state of emergency. But I want to time out for a second. I want to ask you, how are you doing? Like, how are you doing? I know you've got a couple of kids. I know you've got grandchildren. How are they holding up? How's your husband doing? Are you guys in a financial strain? Talk to me. Let me know how what's going through your mind. Let's put business aside for a sec. We'll talk about that later, but I genuinely really want to know how things are going in your life. You're important to me, and because of that, I want to know what's going on. Do you guys see the difference between the two approaches to leadership, specifically around law of connection and the power that it has? One is a manager who is telling their subordinate what to do, is not checking in with them to see how they're doing, is asking them to do something that's actually outside the scope of the work. And now this person feels, not only do they not feel cared for, they're actually feeling like, well, why aren't they doing it? Are they trying to stay on lockdown? Are they trying to avoid being in an environment where they may catch COVID and they're sending me their lackey? Like, there's no, we as humans, we tell ourselves stories, especially if there's no trust there, especially if there's no loyalty, right? Whereas on the other hand, they're not even talking business. They're having one-on-one with all their employees just to check in. So for all of you guys that are managers, what's my point on this first law? Is for anyone that's a manager and anyone that considers themselves a leader, right now it is very important to stop. It's important to check yourself. I know you have a lot going on. I know you have a family to take care of. I know you have bills to take care of. I know the pressure is incredibly heavy on you as well. But you signed up to be a leader. You signed up to be a manager. And that's when you have to just go time out and you need to put your people first. And that's hard. And that's hard to do, especially when things are as crazy as they are right now, because things are crazy right now. That's your responsibility, because the impact that you're going to have on the people around you is going to be night or day. They're either going to question your every move and not be putting a 10 out of 10 and wonder why, or they're going to go back to their family and say, hey, guess what my manager did today? They pulled me aside. They asked me how you're doing. They asked me how we're doing. I can't, and they didn't even ask for anything in return. I can't wait to go into work tomorrow to find out how I can help my manager, okay? So that's law of connection, guys. I really want us to share that with you, the importance of it. Leaders touch a heart before they ask for a hand. Which brings me in a segue number 2. In Law 18 in John Maxwell's law is law of sacrifice. And that is simply what it sounds like. A leader must give up to go and get up. A leader must give up to go up. And what that is suggesting is what I just mentioned around that tail back end, around at the end of the day, when you were asked to be a manager, at the end of the day, when you were asked to lead even one other individual, you have to understand it's important. I'm not going to say you have to understand. That sounds preachy. It is important for me to share the credible and important aspect of you are now not only responsible for yourself, you are absolutely responsible for at least one other individual. You need to make sacrifices that you probably wouldn't otherwise make if you weren't in charge or if you weren't responsible for somebody else, but you're going to have to sacrifice some things in order to make the people around you who lean on you, who require things from you, who look to you for support, who look to you for leadership. You're going to need to sacrifice some things in order for their safety to increase. You need to sacrifice up in order for their safety and their loyalty and their comfort to go up. Okay? Those are the 2 laws that I really wanted to speak to today around leadership, COVID-19, law of connection, and then law of sacrifice. Those are critical right now. You know, I will finish with a sidebar of saying, for all of the employees and for all of you that don't consider yourself leaders, that maybe aren't responsible for anyone but yourself, who have a manager or who have a leader, who have someone, they may be doing a great job of connecting with you. They may not be doing a great job of connecting with you. They may be doing a really good job of sacrificing things, and you can see that they're putting you first over their needs. They may not be doing that. And it might be obvious that they're taking care of themselves first, and then you second or you third. And I just want to ask you to recognize this, that again, this is new to all of us. Okay, so it is the first time that your boss or your manager or your leader is going through this whole process. It is the first time that they're experiencing a pandemic like COVID-19. They don't know what to do either. So while they should be working on law of connection, while they should be working on law of sacrifice, I'm just going to remind you humbly, you should be working a little bit on patience, and you should be working a little bit on understanding, because this is a completely unprecedented thing. And if both sides can do those things, dude, I'm telling you, the outcome is going to be beautiful. It's going to be glorious. We're going to come out of COVID, the ashes are going to settle, and everybody's going to be a 2.1 version of themselves. Okay. I hope this was valuable. Listen, I want you guys to have a great day. It's Tuesday, March 31st, last day of the month. We're already January, February, March. That's 3 on 12. We're 25% of the way through 2020. Stay up, stay healthy. Love you guys. Thank you.